Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Race to 100. I am Rick Storsell.
And I'm Neil Patang.
And we are nearly there. We are episode 98.
98, feeling great.
And this show has been all about putting things into context. So as we prepare to close out our first season of Race to 100, I feel like a little bit of context is in order for the next topic of episode 99 that we're about to talk about.
Rightfully so. Today, Rix and I have decided to talk a little bit about the historical context of the N-word. So, Rix and I were doing a little bit of research. We happened to check out the historical context, and
This is an old word.
yeah, very, very old word, excuse me. And the...
This is an old world.
Yeah,
too.
old world too. Use of the N-word dates back to biblical times, Simeon being referred to as the country in Africa, which the Latin roots of that word mean black.
Yeah, so basically as long as Latin has existed, this word finds its place in history.
Yeah, and has been...
To describe
Yeah.
a group of people.
Yeah, and it's been, what's the word I'm looking for? It's been changed, the variation, the use, the spelling of the word has been changed, carried over, altered over time, often used to describe people with darker skin.
And the the implication of that has changed as well, where you have this word being used as a description of an individual.
Yeah.
In the same way that, like, Caucasian, the word Caucasian was used to describe those that had lighter skin. This word also was used as more just a descriptor.
Yeah.
But it started changing throughout history, especially once you got towards the 1700s, moving towards the 1800s, when slavery started becoming a thing, particularly on the continent of Africa.
Yeah, and that's when the word became more of a slur instead of a descriptor to, describe people.
And it was around the time of our country's founding. I think it was like 1775, so a year before we declared our independence, where it was documented using the N-word in a derogatory sense. And we should also point out too that the specific N-word and the spelling that we know today is different than what was used a lot
In the 1600s,
and
it was Spanish sounding.
It's been spelled
then
like,
the English kind of took their own form of it, and when they settled in the States, they changed it to something, and then it became something, and then so the word's been constantly changing, but the meaning has stayed the same.
And interchanged with the word Negro as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Where even in the mid 1700s, Negro and the N-word were interchanged as descriptors of a lot of the slaves that had been brought over there.
But the first story in history, Rix, you might not know this, of someone being referred to as a Negro was in the 1600s. You've heard, I told you the story of the slave Anthony Johnson. So he was a slave, and this was before. So slavery was legal in the United States, but it was not based on race back in the day. It was more based on power. So white people could own blacks, and black people could own whites. But he was a slave owner during the 1600s, and he was a very successful slave owner. Like, he owned plenty of white slaves. He had them working for him. He established very sound business relations with the people who worked for him, and he would release them, give them a little bit of land, give them a little bit of money, and he prospered handsomely. The government at the time was completely against it, so they decided to make slavery based solely, purely on race, regardless of what type of economic value or power you held. So they took him to court and decided that he could no longer own all of these properties because he was a Negro. He could not be that successful because he was a Negro. And this came about in the 1600s.
Yeah, and I know that there was another court case too, where you had two
Yeah.
slaves, one black and one white, who had run away, and the judge had ruled that was the first ruling in which race was used as a determinant in regards to the sentence. It was like So anyway, this is transformed, and it wasn't until the civil rights movement when it really started heating up when it came to this word being used more as a weapon than anything else.
Yeah, a slur, a way of demeaning,
dehumanizing,
demeaning, whatever. Pretty much telling someone of color that, hey, you're less than nothing, and this is how I'm going to make you feel as such by calling you this.
Mm-hmm.
But on the counter side, it's a word used.
In our research,
Yeah.
it had seemed that it can also be used as, and you know this from personal experience, as a term of
solidarity.
Endearment.
Solidarity. Hey,
that's the
blank,
right
blank.
word.
All that stuff. It's always so awkward talking about this, but it's something that needs to be said, which is what we talked about at the beginning of Race to 100 Season 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of to wrap up a brief history of this word, in the 21st century, most states and the government have recognized this as a word that you don't say. Actually, New York City in 2007 passed a law that said saying that word is illegal.
In New York City?
In New York City, yeah.
Did Rudy Giuliani pass that law?
In 2007?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was mayor.
Okay,
at that
good.
point in time.
I probably.
I doubt. It was the city council too.
Okay, he probably had nothing to do with it.
Probably
I just wanted to troll him right quick.
Of course, but this sets the groundwork for the next conversation that we're about to have, which is going to be much less formal and just more of a conversation, because this is one of those things
you'll
that
definitely want to tune into episode 99, you guys.
We have been.
It's about to get real.
Oh my goodness!
It's about to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But before we give too much away, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for more access of episodes to Race to 100. None of this would be possible without the contributions of our viewers and subscribers. We appreciate you greatly. I'm Neil Batang.
I'm Rick Slurcell, and we will catch you next time on the Race to 100. Peace.